Good people, good people, good people. Welcome back to the Guntown Podcast, episode 225. I'm Doug B. If you tuned in to this podcast, thank you for your time and your attention. I really appreciate you giving it a shot. Today's guest is the founder and owner of Shankofa Wellness Center, LLC. I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I'm sure we'll all be inspired by her story. Let's chop it up with Daynette Ranger. Daynette, how's it going?
It's going great, Doug. How are you?
Glad to hear that, and all is well on my end, too. First things first, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to chop it up with me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate the invitation.
Yes, ma'am. Of course, we'll talk about all the great things you got going on with Shankofa Wellness Center. But before we talk business, let's get to know the woman behind the brand. Born and raised in Oakland, California. How's your upbringing out there in Oakland?
Oh, I'm a 70s born baby, raised in the 80s and grew up in the 90s. Let's say that, right? Oakland was truly an amazing foundation for me. I grew up privileged to be a recipient of the free breakfast program from that was initiated by the Black Panther Party. I grew up just seeing history and really witnessing some amazingness, but it was a peaceful time in Oakland. Very family oriented. It was a city that was growing and continuously evolving. Um, Black people really making moves in Oakland, and I feel very privileged. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So my family actually migrated from Brookhaven, Mississippi, by way of New Orleans to Oakland, and there they took roots and actually opened up a record store and a cleaners and a corner store. So I have some very deep seated roots in Oakland, and I will always claim it as home. So
Yes, ma'am, and that's awesome. That's powerful. Just hearing about your upbringing in Oakland, just getting that exposure to a city that's rich in history. And of course, I've never been to Oakland, but just doing my homework, and I just know it's a city that's very diverse and has a lot of historical landmarks.
yeah,
And I'm glad you were able to benefit from the free breakfast program that the Black Panthers were behind. And also, that's cool that your family.
absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Your family migrated from the South, and I definitely understand why, because I'm sure during that time there was a lot of craziness going on. They had to migrate out west to find better opportunities. So that's awesome.
My family was technically my family was run out of the South.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, uh, my great grandmother's house to lynch my mother, and they, as Black people, we keep a lot of secrets. Unfortunately. So I do know the story, but I don't know exactly how my mom and my aunt and my grandmother actually got to Oakland. All I know is, and my great grandmother, all I know is that my great grandmother held off the Klan with a double barrel shotgun, and they were able to escape Brookhaven, Mississippi. And that part of my family ended up in Oakland because my uncle was actually stationed in Oakland, and my grandmother called him and said, "Find us a house and find us a house quick." Um, but there was the other part of my family. My grandmother's brothers were already in Oakland, but she called her son, not her brothers, to get my aunt and my mom out of, and my great grandmother out of the South. So that part of me was run up out of the South.
Oh, wow. That's wow.
Yeah,
Wow, wow,
yeah,
wow. Yeah, I definitely hate that happened and just that whole scenario. And I mean, that's wow. I mean,
yeah.
I
That's heavy,
I
right?
shouldn't be surprised. I shouldn't be surprised because it's the South. I mean, I'm born and raised in Montgomery. I know how the South been getting down, so I'm not
Right.
surprised. I just hate that happen for your family, but I'm glad that they were able to relocate and get up out of Brookhaven.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Otherwise, you and I would not be having this conversation.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Wow,
Right.
wow, wow. So I definitely understand that. So they made their way out to Oakland, where you got a
Hmm.
chance to grow up at, and so just in terms of just hearing you talk about your family, definitely sounds like you have a great family dynamic. So you had a good village around you when you were growing up.
Oh yes, absolutely. And I grew up real old school, where my mother was a traditionalist, I had a bedtime when I was young at 7 p.m. I my mother was very strict. God rest her amazing soul, but I'm thankful, I'm extremely thankful for my upbringing because how I was raised got me here. It led me to being extremely independent, to being driven, to being a college graduate, to being a business owner. So my foundation, though it was very strict and monitored, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Nothing. I've said every time every time I got a whooping, I deserved it. Every single time. And that level of discipline um, was needed. It was needed. And I don't regret any level of discipline that I received from my mother, from my sisters, because I'm the eighth child. I have five sisters and two brothers. So I have a very large village. And they're all my two oldest brothers and my two oldest sisters are old enough to be my parents. So coming up, it wasn't just my mother who disciplined me. It was my sisters, my brothers, my grandmother. I was well loved. Let's put it that way. I was well loved. And that love and that village upbringing is what got me to where I am today.
Yes, ma'am. And that's so powerful hearing you talk about that. And that's a great perspective to have. And I mean, just that village, like you said, like you had that love and also you had the village. They were there for the discipline part of it. And hey, I grew up I'm an 80s baby. I grew up in the 90s and 2000s and I'm part of that
Yeah.
elk. I'm part of the elk where let's just call it what it is. We got whoopings, but the whoopings actually paid off because it taught you
Yes, sir.
there's consequences for your actions. And I mean,
Yes.
and sending my condolences to the loss of your mom. I know you're saying rest her soul. Definitely offer my condolences for the loss of your mom.
Thank
And
you.
yes, ma'am. And that village, that's what it takes. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna talk about the kids of today, but sometimes I be wondering. I'm like, are they still getting whoopings? I don't know because
But why not? See, that's what I'm saying, Doug. Honestly, we got to be real candid, and I know this is
right,
a very family friendly show, and I want us to really speak to that because you and I are still we're a part of the village, right?
right,
And I've been saying for a while now that unfortunately, the way that our children are today is our fault. This is our generation's fault, and it's time
true,
for us to really take ownership of that and say, and I've said so many times what was wrong with the way we were raised. What was so wrong? And don't get me wrong, I understand that with a lot of us there was trauma, right? And so we we decided, our generation decided, we wanted to be more of our children's friend than their parent. But where has that gotten us? Where has that gotten us as a people? Where has that really gotten us? Our children have unprecedented rates of suicide, especially in the Black community, and I'm specifically speaking about African Americans, our
right,
community.
right,
We are seeing unprecedented rates of suicide. We are seeing unprecedented rates of anxiety and mental illness suffering in our community. And my question is, why do we feel that our parents were so wrong?
right,
Because it literally got us where we are today. We are doctors, we are lawyers, we are judges, we are we are mayors, we are governors, we are chief of police, chief of the fire department. We are high ranking generals and majors. We have we are the products of that level of discipline. So what was so wrong?
right.
That's
That's a
my question.
So that's $1 million question, and you're spot on. And I mean, as I've gotten older, now I'm 38 years old. I promise you, I definitely understand the butt whippings I got. And similar to what you said, I deserved every last one of them I got. I mean,
Yep,
it was hey, I did something I wasn't supposed to do. There was
yep,
consequences for the action, and at the time, you thinking like, dang, like my parents hate me, my grandparents hate me, but
right.
as you get older, you be like, you know what? They love me. That's why they spanked me because I was out of line.
completely out of line, out of pocket. The way these kids talk to their parents now, we
Yeah.
would never.
Nah.
The way that they to adults,
Yes, ma'am.
you know, and the way that they and the thing is, I don't want it to come across that I don't like kids because I don't have any children.
Okay.
However, I absolutely love kids. I've been, like I said, I'm the eighth child. And so my siblings had children. So guess who their babysitter was? Me. So I wasn't the kid that could go and spend the weekend with my friends and hang out with my friends. I was the kid that my mom was so serious about her level of discipline and keeping me out of trouble that if I said I wanted to go somewhere for the weekend, she sent me to my sister. And my sister had two children. And who was the babysitter? Me.
Mm.
Right. So I absolutely love children. My issue comes in when I'm walking, and I know I look young, but I'm 51 years old. And so when I'm walking amongst young people, when I was coming up, if an adult was present, I watched my mouth. I watched the way I spoke because I'm in the presence of an adult. These children don't do that. These children don't have that level of respect for adults. They don't have that level of respect for authority. And in my mind, I'm thinking that I was not raised this way. How is it that my generation, my folks, my girls, my homegirls, my homeboys, how is it that y'all have raised your kids so differently? When I'm looking at y'all and y'all are doctors, when I'm looking at you all have never been to jail. When I'm
Right.
looking at you all and you all have made an amazing life for yourself, but you felt like you wanted to be more your child's friend as opposed to their parent.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so at a loss, and I'm befuddled. I am bewildered. I am all the things because I don't get it. I
Yes,
don't get
ma'am.
it at all. I really don't. I don't. So that's my take on that. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
that's
Yes,
how
ma'am.
I feel it. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Yes, ma'am, and that's spot on. Everything you just said is spot on. I mean, and that's definitely the underlying issue, just the notion of wanting to be friends with the kids, and that's just not the best way to do things because I was raised with
No.
my grandparents, both of them baby boomers, and I knew off the rip they weren't my friends. Like it wasn't even that type of games being played. It was this what you do, and if you don't do it, it's consequences, and you
Yes,
just you just learn that, and I mean that's the power of a village, and you having this large village around you, and just them instilling those principles and that discipline, and like you said, everything your village poured into you, it's the result of who you are today, and that's what it's about.
absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely. I
yes,
would not
ma'am.
be, I would not be, I would definitely not be where I am or who I am if it had not been for my village. And then I didn't, I was blessed. I wasn't just a product of a big family, but my community. I was involved, and that's another thing. I'm just like, what are we doing? I was privileged enough to be a part of a program in Oakland called Dream West. And that program was founded. Here's the interesting thing, that program was founded by a husband and wife who were white, and they were philanthropists. And they were like, what we want to do with our money is give back because they didn't have children. And so they created this program called Dream West. And that program was a tutorial program. And they said, if you all get to high school, one, we're going to send you on a Black college tour. By the time you hit your junior year or your sophomore year and your junior year, you're going to be able to choose to either go to Washington, D.C. or Atlanta. Because why? Howard University, Morgan State University. Or if you wanted to go to Atlanta, go to the AU Center. We're going to send you there. And since you're so close to Alabama, we're going to send you to Tuskegee and ASU. If when you make it to sophomore year and junior year, all expense, but you have to get good grades in this program because we're going to provide you tutors. And our tutors were, from UCLA and Holy Names College and St. Mary's College, and every one of my tutors were Black, right? So that part of my village poured into us so much, gave back to our community so much. So I am just I, I am fortunate. I am truly, truly fortunate to be where I am because I stand on the backs of greatness. I stand on the backs of those who thought about me, those who loved me to think about me and say, I want you I want better for you than there was. And I
Yes,
didn't take that lightly.
yes, ma'am. That's powerful. That is so powerful, spot on, and it's just great. Just you got a chance to take advantage of that program. You did your part, kept your grades up, got a chance to go on the college tours. So now that ties into now that makes perfect sense because I was gonna basically transition into so you grow up in Oakland and you make your way out to Alabama to attend Tuskegee University. So now it makes sense how you got from Oakland to Tuskegee, that tour.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well,
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. When I was in that program, because all of my tutors, they were amazing people. Most of them were a part of the Divine Nine, and they taught college. But my director, after the director left, she moved back to New York. But next came a young, I mean, this one, everything, graduate of Spelman, and her mom actually was one of the first disc jockey for I think it was KBLX, and her mom was. So my next director and Miss Williams just knew I was gonna go to Spelman, and I knew I was like, I'm going to Spelman. So when it the Black College, which my program actually did that program with another program, Francisco, the Boys, which was founded by Mr. Joe Marshall, who was an Omega. That's why it was called the Omega Boys Club. And he did sort of my program, but it was a little different. He actually recruited students, young folks that had in trouble. So, they were in the juvenile facility. He would go to them, tell them, if you knew what I knew, you wouldn't you do. And because of that, Mr. Marshall became like an icon. So our program together and, Black College tour we did. Well, we went to Atlanta and Spelman was, and the tour, now this was 19 to give you. So we're talking Cosby Show, and of course at this point, everybody, and I, of course, my eye am on Spelman. And we hit Spelman, and I didn't feel welcome. I didn't feel, and that's just at that, I didn't feel like we were welcome. And it could have just been the energy of the day. But I knew that at that point, Spelman was, I didn't feel the love, unfortunate, because I really wanted to go to Spelman. I myself at that attending an all girls private Catholic high school in Oakland called Holy Name. And so, of course, it would have been, it was almost like a no brainer, but I didn't. That was a problem. The next day, the trip up the road, Tuskegee and ASU, and Tuskegee was first. And we could not get off the bus faster as the students were coming to us. And I mean, every which way we turned as we walked that campus, students were stopping us. Hey, how you doing? Where's from? Oh man, you need. I mean, conversation, the camaraderie. Then the class, and I will never forget of Willie, and he taught history, and he let us. You cannot sit in my class and not participate. And so we had to actually participate in his class as though we were really his. Leaving there that day, when we left the road to ASU, I knew I was, because I had never felt so at home, so welcome. I knew I didn't even have to visit. They could have taken me back to Atlanta. I had my mind set. I was going, and that is me. That's why.
That's such an amazing story, and just you just paint that picture of, like you said, during that time in '91, the Cosby Show, different world. It was just black excellence. I mean, I was a
Yes.
little boy at that time, but as I got older and I started watching those reruns of those shows, I was like, that like black excellence was really what like that's all I can say. The early '90s was black excellence through and through.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Um, it's extremely disheartening and borderline to see where we are now.
Mm,
But this is matic to this has intent to get particularly to this where enrollment every year, right? Where HB saw the highest enrollment.
mm.
It did
Wow.
because every wanted Hillman, because that's what we every black X was pumped in. So of course, we wanted a Hillman and we were gonna get it. Whether it was Spelman, Howard, Tuskegee, ASU, we were going after it, and we were achieving it. We were achieving. So to
Yes,
see
ma'am.
where is almost devastating to see where we are now.
Absolutely agreed. And like you said, it was all by design. I mean, it's definitely It was all part of the program just to get us
Yes,
in this space that we're in. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that because I won't go on the
yes, it is.
soapbox about what shows and music
Ah,
was back
yeah, yeah,
then versus what shows and music is now. It's a complete 180.
yeah.
It's different.
Yes, it is.
So,
Yes, it is.
yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
it is. Yes, it
That's
is.
great. So that's great. You got a chance you went to Spelman, didn't feel welcome, made your way down to you, and you felt welcome, and you didn't even need to go to ASU. You already knew at that time you was going to attend Tuskegee University. So let's back up a little bit. So when you initially made that trip out from California to the South, just on that tour in general, did you experience any cultural shock coming from the West out here to the South?
I'm telling you a little secret. So even though, although Oakland, right, I came into for me, I wanted to be around. I was UCLA, UC Berkeley, Holy Names College, you name it, Chico State, you name it, I could have gone. But I wanted around us. I wanted to, so for coming to South was what I desired. I wanted to be all the time. I wanted to look up and see black folks. I wanted to go to bed seeing black folks. That's what I want. So it wasn't. What was shocking was how slow it that my freshman year to woe is me. I could not get with the fact I couldn't get with the fact there were no buses, there was no real places that I could go eat because again, Oakland, I get up, I go catch the bus, I can go BART, I could go eat some good food somewhere. Now that was different because I love Mexico, right? So I love Indian food. I love a culture of food, but that wasn't readily available. That wasn't. And then having as a freshman, I didn't have a car, so I had to walk everywhere. That was, are we ever gonna get a bus? Are we gonna get taxi? So that kind of messed my freshman, my fall semester, and I couldn't wait to get back to. And so Chris, get home, go home for one of my closest from LA. I called her. She said, "Hey, what are you doing?" Nothing. And I said, "Man, I miss Tuskegee." She said, "Oh, I didn't want to be the first one to say it. I did not." At that moment, I missed and didn't I miss how slow it was. I miss taking a walk with my homegirl to Calhoun to get our and just at that point, students were always students with the cars, they pull up and be like, "Hey, you want to ride the kid?" Be like, "Not good," and just walk and having in that moment, in that space, that is, I evolved to desiring the slowness, the stillness, the peace that I had to once, at one drove me, I guess because I hadn't had enough to quiet and then when I realized that I preferred it to the noise, I was ready to.
Wow.
And when I went back for spring semester, I didn't go home.
Wow. That's Hey, that's a powerful story in itself. Just coming down to the South, seeing how slow it was and not liking it at first, going back home, realizing you missed it and then go back home for 8 years. So it's safe to assume you thoroughly enjoyed the HBCU experience.
Oh, yes. In every way, just like I was prepared by my life, double that at my age, double that, right? So my family, my community in Oakland prepared me for and Tuskegee prepared me, and being in the South prepared to live life. There are no experience. There is not okay with nobody's. There's
Right.
no experience like what you are going to have to with at an HBC. You're going to have to learn how to apply said paper in the real world. You're going to have to learn how to navigate micro with that. You're going to have to learn how to literally pace what you desire. You're going to have foresight. You're going to have and practice knowing you're going to have to learn how to play chess in this life. And HB experience teaches you how to play chess, not checkers.
Hmm. Yes, ma'am. That's spot on. That's a bar right there. And I wholeheartedly agree. The HBCU experience is top tier.
Yeah.
You get a chance to meet people from all over the world, from the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest to South. And something else you said earlier about that professor you met on your tour, that's the HBCU experience in general. Like professors,
Mhm.
they're going to they're going to hold you accountable and they're going to pull whatever greatness you got in you inside. They're gonna definitely you're gonna have to participate. You're not just gonna be a number. You're gonna have to stand
Nope.
up and be accounted for. So that's the one thing. I think the thing about HBCU experience I appreciate the most is the soft skills I learned being at a HBCU, the communication, teamwork, problem solving. It's those things, like you said, HBCU experience teaches you how to navigate life, how to just deal with
Yeah,
everyday life, and it's deeper than a degree. Those soft skills
yeah.
and just the way you learn how to navigate. So I wouldn't trade my HBCU experience for anything, and it sounds like you wouldn't either.
Mm-mm, not at all. Not at all. Not
Yeah.
at all. I had a young lady on
Okay.
Saturday. I had been in the house all day. I finally got up, got dressed, took a shower, got dressed, and I said, I'm just gonna go to bed. Knew they were having a sale. And I don't need to get out. And I just threw something on through my because it was a little chilly. I threw my Tuskegee jacket on. It's a denim jacket and embroidered in the back. Tuskegee, beautiful. Just walking around. Excuse me. She said, "Did you go to tea?" I said, I am a proud of alum of Tuskegee. Do you attend Tuskegee? She said, "Yes, ma'am." I literally talked to her about standing of, and it made me the old conversing with the new. And I had to help her pouring the richness of an HUX and what they are dealing with and all of and that made me feel to see a young person because I could tell she's receiving the information. It's one thing for a person and another for them to and she actually the information. That changed my because I was having a bad that young and that conversation moment changed my entire day. And that's what this is.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. 1000%. It's about pouring into the next generation and just taking time just to have that conversation because I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
she walked away like that was a very valuable conversation for both ends, you and her. Like a lot of value was gained from that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
And
Good
I
stuff.
think we don't understand how impactful that we really can.
Right.
I don't think we really understand. And I think it's really just lead us to get back to community. It
Right.
is. It's time for us to get back to community. It's time for us to um really grab our kids and just hug them and let them know, listen, we gotta do better.
Right.
We gotta do yeah.
Right. Absolutely. That's spot on. Yes, ma'am. So you graduated from Tuskegee University, enjoyed the HBCU experience, and that's amazing. But let's talk about what we're here to talk about tonight. Let's talk about all the great things you got going on at Shankofa Wellness Center. So I'm big into brand names, Daynette. So I gotta ask you, what's the inspiration behind your company name?
The name my best was Dr. Cosetta Dion Shannon. Her tag name on Instagram was Shankofa. She was professor at Troy University in diversity and diversity. She was the most amazing, absolutely amazing. And she dealt with meaning she also just diversity and mental health and taught. And so one day she created a business. I be a mental health advocate or counselor for your clients because I am a therapist. And I was like, oh yes, let's do that. That would be amazing. And so we sat down and I said, well, what do we want to know? I said, how about we call it Shankofa? And she looked at me. I said, well, both of us believe in the principles of Sankofa, where we learn all that to give it to others, power others. We gather the resources and we help others to get where they need to go from said. We both in that person. And she was like, oh, okay, well, let's do that. So we decided Shankofa Wellness Center. Well, she was doing a 3 week study abroad, kind of like, but for Troy had a pretty amazing exchange program, Chinese, and they were doing the exchange, this fellowship, and she got picked to go. She spent 3 weeks, and on 15, the day of her birthday, and the day she was coming back, she suffered a pulmonary and died in the Dallas airport. And that really, yeah, that did a lot to me. And so that really should, in a monumental way. But I knew that I would honor her. I knew that I would honor women like her, meaning my mother, who died when I and my sister, who at that time breast cancer, and who I subsequently in 2017. So those three were impactful women in my life. So what other way to honor the memory of them than to name it though I practice though I am a massage therapist, there's so much to Shankofa than just coming to get a massage. And my clients, I created Shankofa to ensure that every that walks feels cared for, that they feel heard, that they know that they are seen. They know and they know. So it's not common. Though I am a life massage, I tell all my clients who are I tell them, you are three mind, body. What goes on in you manifests physiologic. That's see me. But in order to do and for you, your vessel, the work that God has commissioned, you got to talk. And so we the same way that Cosetta and I've done Shankofa Wellness Center. My clients to talk to prior to their therapy, prior to receiving their massage care. And so instead, don't talk to me. And I don't put myself to it's not what I'm a wellness who's also a licensed massage therapist. Because in my mind, all it takes is for you to feel comfortable to open and have the conversation. Usually I'm the person that they feel the most comfortable with. I'm thankful for so that's where Shan comes from. It comes from an idea birth 2000 at a booth in Waffle downtown between two and one who didn't make it.
Wow. Wow, that's such a powerful story. Very moving story. Offer my condolences to the loss of your friend and the loss of your mother, the loss of your sister. And wow, that story is pretty heavy. Like I definitely wasn't expecting that. Oh, that was pretty heavy. But I appreciate that because that was
You're welcome.
no. Hey, that was a beautiful story. And I mean, just hats off to you for carrying on that legacy, that idea that you and your best friend had from that conversation at that Waffle House downtown. And I mean, like you said, what better way to honor those that you lost than to create this experience, this safe haven for your clients? Like you were saying, it's not just a massage parlor. Like this is a safe haven. This is an experience for people to come and talk to you. And like you said, I know
Yeah.
you said, you're not proclaiming to be a licensed therapist, but you're just offering that safe haven for your clientele. And like that's what it's all about when you in the service business. Like when you serving your customers, is creating that top tier experience. And sounds like Shane Copa is definitely offering that top tier experience for all your clients.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I've said so many times, and they know that that they have to talk because if not, when you get on everything that has been going on your day, going on with your life, it doesn't right. And so basically, my work is.
Mm,
But by the time they finish having that conversation, when they get on their ball, they want to do sleep, and
mm,
that's they
mm.
go to, and when they go home, walk out that, and they go home, they're able to sleep. And I don't people really understand the power and how transforming sleep really is. That is and when life is robbing sleep, it's robbing your peace. And you can't think you don't have an opportunity to just rest. You can't, nor can you hear the direction God. You can't hear the directions from God because so much chaos is existing there. But do you how you feel after a good night's rest? Do you
Right.
know how you know what kind of space you wake up in when you slept so good? And it is in that space God is able to give you so many directions, so much clarity, so many instructions on which way to navigate, how to solve this problem, how you gonna build. You have how God is able to move in the quiet and in the peace from just that one night of good rest. And that's what
Mm.
I like to give them. That one night of good rest. So when you get up in the morning, man, you can keep going.
Yes,
You can
ma'am.
keep going. You can keep going. You got a smile on your face when you didn't have one.
Right.
And I got the passion. Oh man, no, I'm not hurting it. But Zenobi told me, if I would just do this, if I would do this, I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna go and try to do that. Yeah. Things like so yeah. Shankofa is a place to just come get a massage. Shankofa is where I allow people to lay their burdens down.
Yes, ma'am. That's powerful stuff, and that's just great. Just hearing, just walk through, just the experience that you offer your clients, a place to lay their burdens down, to come get that massage, get it off their chest, so they can get a good night's sleep. And I mean, that's so powerful. So I got to ask you,
Mhm.
Daynette, with you pouring into everybody and offering this safe haven and a place for people to come decompress and feel safe, how do you decompress?
Oh, I live a very It's taken a
Okay.
long time, but I really, I'm gonna be very honest because I've learned to be very. There's power in. I choose me first. I choose me first. So if I want sleep, I sleep. If I don't want, I don't go to work. When um are really time to pour. I allow my energy to go where I really want to go. If I want to take a walk or I want to meditate, if I want to sit in prayer pose, I give my freedom to do those things because I cannot pour from an empty cup. I take the time to get my body work done. At this point, I am seeking a good therapist because I believe in mental health. And so I'm really looking for it. I believe in, I'm a huge advocate for people being in therapy. I am. I'm a very big advocate because I believe that, of course, party to see things through. You just need someone to talk to. So yes, I too am. I also pray a lot. I also really a lot. Me and God have a great relationship. We talk
Hmm.
on a regular. And I do have my own creative outlets. And if I just don't know is a powerful, powerful statement for me. No.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is how I take care of myself. I truly look out for my own well being before I take care of everyone else's. I eat well. I definitely stress at bay if possible. If not, then I sit and I make it my business to commune with God about whatever it is that I'm going through. Which thankfully is not a lot, and I'm thankful for that. So,
Yeah, those are
I'm a collector of like,
right.
um, I find I have a great I travel. I love to travel. And I am a fragrance connoisseur.
Okay.
I believe in collecting fragrances and wearing them because I believe very heavily in aromatherapy. So that helps to boost the mood. But I, I, I really pour in and I'm not ashamed of pouring into me. And I think that's a lot of particularly Black women's problems or our issues is that we have been to feel ashamed for pouring into ourselves. But I'm not ashamed. And I believe that God has given me that type. Hey, you can't keep pouring from an empty cup. You have to. So I get my massages, I get my body care, I eat well, I go for my walks, and I'm looking for a therapist. So that's about it. And I pray.
Yes, ma'am.
I
I definitely
pray.
understand. Yes, ma'am. I definitely understand that. Those are all great outlets, and that's what it's about: finding those outlets and self care, saying no to, hey, saying yes to you first, putting you first. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. You cannot pour from an empty cup, like you were saying. That's spot on. So that's great that you have those outlets, those ways
Mhm.
of decompressing and taking care of you, and that's what it takes to live and operate at the optimal level, so you can continue to your clients at the highest level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I let them a shadow of a doubt. If I cannot take care of me, I cannot take care of you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I
That's
won't. I
yes,
won't.
ma'am.
I have canceled in times when I just have not felt my best.
Right.
I have. I've canceled them. But I'm very I've been a therapist for 16 and I've never looked at my career as a job. Never.
So it doesn't
I
feel like
don't.
work.
It never. I get up, I get dressed. I love to, when I say I love going to care and put hands on my folks, I really do. I truly do. And I tell them all the time they are spoiled, they are rotten. And I'm always looking at how I can improve their experience, what more can, but I never look at it. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed because a lot of people cannot do their job and they're like, wake up and happy. I literally,
Yes, ma'am. That's powerful stuff. That's so powerful. So you've done great things with the company, and I know great things are coming down the pipeline. I got to ask you, as it relates to goals, what are some of your short term and long term goals you feel comfortable sharing?
short term, honestly, I'd like to add an estimate in my practice. So, if you know any estimates, let me know. But I also know that they have to because I'll be releasing my clients to them. And I'm like a mama when it comes to my clients. So I'm very protective of them. I love them. And so anyone coming into Shankofa has to be in alignment with me. But that is one of my goals, is to actually put in an esthetician in my business. That's a short, long term. I'm looking at opening up another, and hopefully God will, and not hopefully, I know that the universe will align me with the therapist that will for another location. And I would like to bring an umbrella along with, really lying under, I would say, along with me, because I look at it as a partnership. It may be my business. So I would love to be in alignment with other therapists that are like just what I believe, how I think, and how I move with how I care for. So ultimately, the long up one more location, but also aside for massage therapy, because I believe in being multifaceted. I don't think that I think that one of the things that I feel so strongly about is I hear some people say, our people died for, and I take it a step further. Our people died for us to have the freedom to do and move in ways, right? And so, whereas we parents that were locked into jobs for 30 because they believed in a retirement, so many things and times have changed so drastically that we can now have multiple. They fought for us to have this. And so my thoughts are take full advantage, right? And so although I want a location in Kofa, my other dream is to open up my own niche perfumery here in Montgomery. I have such a passion for the world, and Montgomery does not know really that world and how transformative fragrance for your mood, for your mental state, and recent studies shown about how it can assist eliminating or preventing dementia. So that's another scientific nugget, actually studying how fragrances can prevent dementia, because it's about cognitive connection. So yeah, I have fragrance, body care, and taking care of you. But fragrances specifically. So that is another goal of mine, is to open up perfumery. And yeah, we're gonna see how that works. That's determined to do, because Montgomery does, and I'd love to create different events around that and introduce people to a different world. So to speak, yeah.
Okay. Hey, awesome. Those
Instead
are
of having people, I don't want to keep having, because I myself, I have to go to Atlanta, or when I go to Nashville, or when I go to Dallas. If I go and I want to check out the new Tiziana Terenzi, or the new Dior Gritty, or I have to go outside the house. If I want to enjoy it, I have to go. And I know that there's a small fraction of people that live in Montgomery that are like me, and they wish like that. So yeah, I'm looking at least, God willing, end of next year, beginning of the following year, to bring a niche perfumery to Montgomery.
Yes, ma'am. Those are all great goals, short term, long term, and just from my conversation and hearing you talk, I know you'll put in the work, put in the action behind it, and making it all come to fruition.
Yes.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
really don't have, I don't have a choice.
Right.
That's how I look at, I really don't have, I feel like, because when I know that things are part of my,
Right.
I don't have choice in, because at this point, it's a soul, it's not a physical. You recognize that things are a part of your soul. You don't have a choice.
Right. Absolutely. Powerful
So,
stuff. Powerful. So
yeah.
yes, ma'am. As we wrap up the podcast, Daynette, I want to ask the $1 million question. So I started this podcast because I wanted to highlight the greatness connected to the city of Montgomery. Whether you were born here or lived here for a significant period of your life, be it college, military, work, or business, you operating in business here in the city of Montgomery. I got to ask you, what do you appreciate about the city of Montgomery?
What do I?
Yes, ma'am. What do you appreciate the most about the city of Montgomery, seeing that you operating in business here in the city?
I appreciate that when the truly believes in you, they ride for you. I appreciate that when Montgomery believes in you, they show up. I appreciate the opportunity for growth, expansion of small businesses in Montgomery, because it is a small city, and I I appreciate because if it wasn't for here, Shankofa wouldn't exist. That's just honest. It would not exist. It would not be here. So the community make Shankofa.
Yes, ma'am. Powerful stuff. So, Daynette, how can the people connect with you? What are your social media handles and website?
Oh, my website is W Wellness. That's Hankoa wellness.com. I am on Instagram at Shankofa Wellness and Business Center. And if they just my business 46549733. Again, that's 334-654-9733.
Too
And
easy.
that's it. Too
Too
easy.
easy. And of
Too easy.
course, yes, ma'am. And of course, I'll put all of this information in the description of the episode. Hey, Daynette, thanks again for the conversation. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Doug, for having me. I really appreciate this time. I really do.
Yes, ma'am. Good people, that concludes another dope episode of the Gumptown Podcast. In the meantime, in between time, y'all know what to do. Be blessed, be safe, but most importantly, have the audacity to be you. Go.